1.3 million Australians will be forced out of their current job by 2030, and most of them have no idea they're on the list. If your income depends on typing, filing, or answering phones, the clock started 2 years ago. I'll show you the 82 occupations Deloitte just flagged and what the numbers actually say about your role. If you leave now, you keep guessing. Guessing costs $90,000. That's what displaced Aussies lose. But here's what no headline is telling you. 3 things coming. The exact exposure score your job carries. Out of 10, one number that proves partial automation is deadlier than full. And the skill pattern separating survivors from casualties, the jobs aren't disappearing, they're not being refilled. That distinction costs you 30 grand. Before you even notice, one number makes this click. So let's start with what Deloitte actually found. In June 2026, Deloitte Access Economics released their updated employment forecasts. They flagged 82 occupations as AI disrupted. Not factory workers, not tradies, white-collar professionals, finance, insurance, professional services, media, the people who thought they were safe. Jobs and skills, Australia went further. They scored every occupation on AI exposure. A scale of 1 to 10. Contact centre workers scored 7.4, general clerks scored 7, data entry operators and bookkeepers, both above 6.5. Telemarketers sitting right at the top. Now here's your number. 417,000 workers across just 8 occupations face the highest displacement risk in the country. Clerks, telemarketers, contact centre operators, receptionists. These aren't future predictions. These scores reflect what AI can already do. Not in 5 years. Right now. So you've got your exposure scores. But they don't tell the full story, because only 4% of Australian jobs are classified as highly exposed to full automation. 4% sounds tiny. So how does 4% lead to 1.3 million displaced workers? Here's the number I promised you. The one that changes everything. It's not about your entire job being automated. It's about 30 to 40% of your tasks being automated. That's the threshold. When AI handles a third of what you do, your employer doesn't fire you. They decide 2 people can now do the work of 3. The third person doesn't get replaced, doesn't get fired, just quietly, over 6 months, stops being part of the headcount. McKinsey confirmed this in their Australian workforce report. The disruption won't look like mass firings. It'll look like hiring freezes. Teams getting leaner, roles that stop appearing on Seek and Indeed. And this is already in the data. Employment growth in AI-disrupted occupations has slowed from 1.9% annually to a forecast of 0.5%. That gap, applied across 82 occupations and millions of workers, means hundreds of thousands of roles that would have existed simply won't. But if that's the slow bleed, what does the sudden cut look like? Now this is where it gets ugly. I told you, the jobs aren't disappearing. Let me prove it. Job postings in AI-exposed fields have been stable since mid-2023. 2 full years of AI hype, mass layoff headlines every week. And the number of ads hasn't dropped. So where is it? It's in the roles that never came back. A Brisbane bookkeeping firm tracked their own numbers. Before AI tools, their data entry team spent 28 hours a week on manual processing. After implementing AI, that dropped to under 3 hours. 90% reduction. Same firm, same clients, same revenue. But here's what matters. They didn't fire anyone. They just never hired the 2 juniors they'd budgeted for next financial year. Revenue per staff member went up 38%. The firm is more profitable with fewer people on the payroll. And those 2 workers who would have been hired will never know the role existed. That's the model now. Not firings, disappearances. 4,450 tech and corporate roles were cut in the first 10 weeks of 2026 alone. AI cited as the primary driver. This isn't a forecast anymore. This is the current quarter. 850,000 workers in office support, production, food services, customer service, and sales are projected to leave their current occupations by 2030, not because they get fired, because the role slowly, quarter by quarter, stops justifying a full salary. You feel busier? You're doing more with less. Then one day, your team is smaller and nobody remembers when it happened. So who's actually safe? 21% of Australian jobs face medium to high AI exposure. Not 4%. 21. The 4% figure only covers full automation risk. The rest sit in the partial zone, and partial is where the real damage lives. Think about it this way. If AI can do your entire job, you might actually be fine. Someone still needs to manage, verify, and correct the output. Full automation creates oversight roles. But if AI handles 40% of your tasks, your employer just needs fewer of you. No new role gets created. You become surplus through basic arithmetic. The International Labour Organization found that 32% of Australian jobs could technically be performed by AI today. Not in 5 years. Today. The only barriers are implementation costs and switching friction, both falling every quarter. 40% of Australian workers say they're worried about AI impacting their role, and the Pearson report found that 65% of skills needed for existing jobs will change by 2030. Not new jobs. Your current job, the skills that got you hired 3 years ago, are depreciating faster than a new Hilux off the lot. Now let me put you in this. You're a bookkeeper earning $72,000 a year. You're solid. Clients like you, but your firm just deployed AI that handles bank reconciliations, receipt coding, and BAS prep in minutes instead of hours. Your boss doesn't fire you. They just don't replace your colleague who left in March. Now you're doing the work of 2 people supported by AI. Feels productive? Not threatening? Then next financial year, the firm restructures. 3 bookkeepers instead of 5. You might keep your seat. 2 colleagues won't. And the job ads for junior bookkeepers stop appearing entirely. Accountants face the same calculus, earning between $80,000 and $95,000. But AI already handles tax prep, variance analysis, and compliance reviews. The partner doesn't need 6 accountants when 4+ AI tools deliver the same billable output. The median full-time salary in Australia is about $90,000. A data entry clerk earns $62,000. These aren't entry-level wages. These are people with mortgages and super balances that assume 20 more years of steady income. And the system isn't designed to warn them. MyGov won't send a notification when your occupation moves up the AI exposure index. Seek won't flag that. A listing used to be 4 positions and is now 2. The signals are invisible unless you actively look. But before I get to what protects you, there's one more thing about where the new jobs are actually going. Remember, I promised you the skill pattern that separates survivors from casualties. Here it is. The occupations growing fastest in Australia are science, technology, healthcare, and professional services. McKinsey projects a net increase of 1.5 million additional jobs by 2030. More new roles created than old ones displaced. But here's the catch. Those 1.5 million new jobs don't automatically go to the 1.3 million displaced workers. They go to people with a specific profile. And it's not what LinkedIn tells you. It's not coding. It's not prompt engineering. It's not a 6-week AI certificate. It's the ability to do what AI cannot do well, combined with enough AI fluency to let it handle the routine. The workers who survive aren't fighting the technology. They're the ones whose human judgment becomes more valuable because AI takes the repetitive work off their plate. Healthcare workers. Engineers. Advisors who build client trust. Creatives who synthesize ideas. Managers who navigate ambiguity. These roles aren't growing because they're immune to AI. They're growing because AI amplifies the human part. The bookkeeper who survives isn't the one who resists. It's the one who uses AI to handle compliance in minutes, then spends freed hours on advisory work worth 3 times the rate. Same person, same desk. Completely different value to the firm. The data entry clerk who survives becomes the data quality analyst. The contact center worker becomes the escalation specialist handling the cases AI can't resolve. Every time, the pattern is identical. The survivor moves up the judgment ladder while AI takes the rungs below. If you only remember one thing from this video, make it this. AI doesn't eliminate jobs cleanly. It thins them out, makes each remaining worker more productive until the headcount drops by natural attrition. The question isn't whether your job will be automated. It's whether you'll be the worker they keep or the one they don't replace. That's not pessimism. That's arithmetic. The numbers tell a story no headline captures properly. 1.3 million displaced. 1.5 million created. The net is positive. Australia will have more jobs in 2030 than it does today. But they won't be the same jobs. And they won't go to the same people. Not unless those people move first. Here's what the shift looks like on the ground. Hiring growth in disrupted roles dropping from 2% to 0.5%. Job ads flat, while teams shrink quietly. Junior positions vanishing before they're ever posted. And on the other side, healthcare, tech, and advisory roles absorbing talent faster than any other sector in the country. The shift didn't start this year. It started in 2024, 2 years of quiet erosion behind 2 years of loud headlines. And the pace is accelerating. Every quarter, the tools get cheaper. Every quarter, another team gets leaner. 26% of current jobs are at high risk without active upskilling. 1 in 4. That's not a vague forecast. That's published data from this year. $90,000. That's the income lost when you're forced into transition unprepared. 0 if you start building the right capabilities while you still have a salary and time on your side. The 82 occupations are published. The exposure scores are public. The hiring data is visible if you look. Nothing about this is hidden. The only question is whether you act on it now or find out the hard way in 18 months. The clock started 2 years ago. It hasn't run out yet. If this helped you see your career differently, subscribe. I break down the numbers that actually matter every week.